We are going to talk about inbreeding today, and I think I'll have to discuss it, and you will be able to understand it, the effects of inbreeding, and why do we have to control animals from inbreeding. Those are the reasons today. Yeah, today I would like to talk about inbreeding because it's you who requested for it. First of all, I'll tell you what inbreeding can do, what are the effects. But sometimes also people do inbreeding when they are doing breeding. It depends on the traits that you really want, but most of the time inbreeding is not healthy. It's not good. You see, like this guy, you see, is a pure boar, and now I think now he's making 4 months old, and right now we are trying to wean it from the mother, and this guy is now getting used to this environment. Actually, we're trying to let it adapted to zero grazing, because in most of the developed countries, those serious breeders, if you see a potential animal, you have to put it on the feeding such that it can give you its maximum, and that will definitely help you bring out the size of an animal and identify its potential. So this is a potential guy, because if it is 3.5 months and you see how it's looking, really, it is showing you a very good potential um, uh, genetical material. So it can definitely give you very good results, and it can give you very good babies. But when you're doing inbreeding, you can't have this kind of animals. So this guy has really adapted very well to the feeds. I told you many times this is alfalfa crushed in a powder form, and we are feeding them to these animals to see how they can get adapted. Actually, some of them have not really adapted very well, but this guy has really responded very well. Back to the point of inbreeding. Inbreeding has a lot of effects, and most of it is the recessive genes becoming dominant. Recessive genes becoming dominant is a very bad thing when you're doing breeding, because all of us, or all of you, or all the animals have very good genes, and being dominant or being very common is what we want. The good genes, good performance. When I talk about of good genes, those are the animals which has a very good growth rate, very good conversion rate. If an animal eats a feed, how long does it take to convert, and how much can it convert per day? Those are the genes that I'm talking about, and the ability of transferring those genes to another generation. That's the reason why we do breeding. But you people, when you do what they call inbreeding, that is when you bring relatives, to breed the relatives. That means if those animals have recessive genes like poor growth rate, poor conversion rate, they will become dominant because you're adding them more in the same flock. So inbreeding brings a lot of trouble. One of the things that it brings high chances of getting sick. So it reduces the resistance or tolerance of an animal. You get it? Actually it lowers the immunity of an animal. You get it? So when you do inbreeding, the effects you're going to have: poor growth rate. First of all, you're going to have high mortality in kids. You're going to have many disadvantages that you're going to have. Poor growth rate. You look at an animal really looking very nice with very long ears, but the growth rate is going to be low. When you look at an animal, it's really looking very nice, but it produces kids which are very weak. Those are all signs of inbreeding. So I can't recommend you to do inbreeding. If you want to do inbreeding, do it when you really have a professional guide in the background, because he will be knowing what he is following. But the effects of inbreeding are really very bad on our side. You look at an animal having a very small head as compared to the big body. But the best way is control inbreeding. How do we control inbreeding? Like these guys you see, they are 3 months, and we have decided to win them, put them here so that they are controlled and they don't serve the daughters, even the sisters. You get it? That's why we win them at 3 months. Those that start to misbehave, we bring them here for more extra care, winning them, getting them adapted to go to the winners section, male winners section, than letting these guys interact with the mothers and the sisters, which is very, very bad on our side. So inbreeding brings a lot of effects. If you have animals which have very small heads with a big body, that is a sign of inbreeding. Try to control your males. Then if you have high mortalities in kids, also could be a result of inbreeding. Also, prematures is also a sign of inbreeding. Poor growth rate is also a sign of inbreeding. An animal not responding to drugs and really being weak all the time, the kids born are too weak, that could also be a sign of inbreeding. So, what do we have to do, or how do I control inbreeding? Me, like the fathers of this, I imported them. Then I gave it to the females. When I gave them to the females, they were born, and these males were born, and the females were born. So after being born, I have weaned the brothers, and I have separated again the sisters. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to control those two similar genes not to meet, the female sisters and the male brothers. Then I imported in another lot that I'm going to give to the sisters of these ones and the mothers of these ones. That doesn't bring any inbreeding. And the reason why I keep importing in more animals is because I sell animals to many people. So even if me, I don't do inbreeding here, and if I don't bring in new genes, let's say I have controlled my inbreeding very well, but also you people who buy from me, you will not control it. It will not be easy for me to monitor it. Why? Because you have bought, let's say, 100 goats from me, you have produced, you have over 600, and some other person will see your animals. It doesn't mean that me who sold you the animals, it will be me to buy those animals. But just in case you need me to buy them, I can buy them. But I'm giving an example. You have multiplied many animals, then some other person also came to you, bought some animals, also came to me again to buy some animals. So somewhere, somehow, he's going to buy related animals. That's why I keep importing in new males, so that it can infuse in more genes which are not even related in the country. Those are my reasons. So you who requested for inbreeding, master these things. One, you have to have units whereby when you produce an animal, it makes 3 months, separate it, have a unit for the males. Also have a unit for the females, the offsprings or the profits. So you will introduce another male which is not related to the mother or to the father or to this one. Then you give it to this one, to the female kids. Then you let these boys go and serve somewhere else. Or what else you can do, if you have your flock of 100 goats, then it produces, let's say, 200. Separate the boys, then separate the girls, and then these girls, when they make 6 months, you can even return them back here, and you remove the father who produced them, then take it somewhere else, introduce a new male which can serve the mother and the kid. So that's also another way of controlling inbreeding. But like, if we're still in a serious business of breeding animals, never practice inbreeding as per now. And it's very easy to control these animals. And what we are doing here is also controlling inbreeding. It's a very simple project. Me, I always simplify work for you. I don't complicate things. I tell you how I do it, and you also exercise it. It will always be very simple. I've told you many times, do simple houses. They have a meaningful or strong meaning on your farm. Simple separation, chain link, simple exercising yard, simple shelter is really controlling a lot of your money. Thank you very much. Let me wish you the best.